Here's a quick video for using the clone stamp for those of you who are unfamiliar or still working on using the clone stamp. As always, I'm going to copy my background using Control J. You could also drag the background down to here and make another copy. I'm going to rename that, and in this one, I'm going to name it Clone Stamp Layer because that's what I'm going to do to it. The clone stamp is over here. It's the shortcut S tool. So if I just click S, then I get what looks like your brush tool, and you can resize it the same way you can resize a brush tool. Then what you want to do if you're going to try to move some pixels essentially from one area to the next is you're going to hold down Alt, the Alt key, and then it brings up this kind of target looking thing. Then I'm going to click, and what that's doing is selecting that area, and those are the pixels that are going to be copied. Now when I move this over here, you notice this kind of faded out illustration of those pixels. Now I can move this anywhere. So for instance, I could create a new layer and call that copied layer, something like that. I'm going to move it onto that layer. That way I don't mess up the original layer. Then, should I want to make a twin from my nephew, with those pixels selected, I simply click, and it gives me kind of a faded out image, kind of ghostly in that way. Or I could keep clicking, and I'll have more of a complete image of him. And then as you notice, wherever I put my cursor is copying, imagine that target is copying that same area from the other picture. So I could complete, this doubling of him here pretty easily. Now, if I wanted to redo his head again, notice his head's gone right here. So I would need to go back to this layer, Alt, click his head, go back to this copied layer, and I could click again. Now I have 3 of him essentially on this layer. Notice, of course, if I take the eyeballs off those layers, this is what those look like, those stamped layers. Notice you have to click again a bunch of times in order to bring the quality of the image out. Otherwise, you can end up with that kind of faded look. Now, the nice thing is I can then copy things from that layer too. So I could copy this and put it on, let's say, another layer, and then go like this. Or copy that again, Alt, click, go back up to this layer, and oops, I went to the wrong layer. That often happens. Click, and there we go. So it's pretty easy, but that's the clone stamp. Of course, it's really handy if you have 2 different images and you want to bring those images into each other. That works pretty well. But anyway, that's a quick overview of the clone stamp. Nothing fancy. Again, it's the S tool. And all you're doing is essentially copying pixels, moving them somewhere else. And again, I really want to encourage you, make sure you use those new layers so that if I've messed this up, I can easily just go delete, delete, and now I'm back to my original image. If I don't do that, of course, I have to delete my original image and probably start all over. Anyway, hope that helps. Good luck on your monster project.